Xin chao. What's going on, everybody? I'm in great spirits. It's a coronavirus update for Vietnam. When I started this, it was at 85 cases. It's now at 87 cases. They've suspended visas from 9 European countries: South Korea, US, Europe, Asian countries. Immediate transfer to military 14-day quarantine pretty much from wherever you come from now. So if you do, for some reason, still think you're going to come have a great vacation here, that's not going to happen, folks. You will be in a 14-day quarantine. So if you're still going to be headstrong, go for it. I don't care what you do in the long run. Hanoi has now advised its people to just stay at home. They haven't shut down the city, and the PM talked about that today. He said he doesn't plan to shut down the city either. Their magic number is 100, I think, and I think once they hit 100, more extreme precautions will be taken. I'm imagining once it hits like a couple hundred, they'll probably shut Saigon down, they'll shut Hanoi down, and then eventually Da Nang. We'll see how that plays out. There's a lot of reports going around that there's discrimination amongst tourists here. I haven't personally seen it. I hadn't have any discrimination towards me either. I tend to go to the same spots I always go to, though, so they kind of know me. I haven't had anybody look at me weird, but then again, I always wear an N95 mask. I imagine the tourists that are suffering some issues are probably tourists that aren't wearing masks, that aren't really taking it that big of a deal. But you don't see too many of those now. There was 17 French people, I forgot what province they were in, but they couldn't even get a hotel. The travel agency they used had to get them the hotel. So, which I understand both sides of that. The other big thing here is what we're learning from this is it's a lot of people that wouldn't travel and did a trip during the coronavirus. It was foolish to do to begin with. But, you know, they shouldn't have went on a trip. You shouldn't have been almost going on a trip in March. Anywhere past February. When I started making these videos is when I wouldn't have traveled. So if you go and look back, I think the first one's January 31st or February 1st. But yeah, all the new patients that are in Vietnam right now are all kids. Like literal kids. Like not kids, but... So patient 77 is a 25-year-old Viet woman that was studying in UK. Patient 78 is a 22-year-old man that was studying at UK. 79th was a 48-year-old woman that was living in the UK. The 80th is her son that's 18 years old. The 81st is a 20-year-old male that just traveled to Paris for a vacation in early March. Not the best of jobs. 82 is a 16-year-old teen from London, Dubai. He took a London to Dubai flight. 83rd case is a 50-year-old American that went traveling as well. 21-year-old is a man at UK studying. 20-year-old man. The 85th was a 20-year-old man, UK student studying as well. 15 cities and provinces in Vietnam have Wuhan virus now. The latest two new ones, the 86th and the 87th, are nurses at Hanoi, so that's not a good thing to be at all. The 86th is a 56-year-old female. The 87th is a 34-year-old female. Guess how they got infected? They took a trip to Con Dao in early mid-March, and then they both came down with symptoms a little bit later after that. So, sounds like traveling is not the best idea right now. In fact, I fully advise against it. Again, I'm not an expert or anything like that. I've never claimed to be an expert since the beginning of these videos. I will never claim to be an expert, but I know how to look at stuff and make a good judgment. So if you are traveling right now, I would probably get home before you can't get home. My guess is all air flights in the world won't. I don't think any planes will be moving in 2 weeks' time. Maybe a little bit more time, maybe a little bit less time, but I highly doubt there's going to be any planes moving. I just really don't think so. I think you're going to see every country shut down its borders, any countries around it. I think you're going to see massive shutdown worldwide really quick here. Again, that's speculation, but how this is playing out, I mean, if we just take the numbers and go by the numbers, and how quick Italy's happened, and how quick Iran has happened, and how quick Germany's now happening, yeah, it's not good. It's not good at all. Cambodia has shut its borders officially, land, sea, and air at 12 p.m. midnight. Thailand will be next, I'm guessing. America we'll talk about last because I have some opinions on America. Let's see, what else do we got? We got 3,000 people total in quarantine right now. 17th recovered, just discharged today. The U.S. has 14,336 cases. Italy's now at 42,000 cases with a death toll of 3,400. Those numbers aren't good. I know there's a lot of old people there, but there's a lot of young people there too. Iran, 19,000. Germany, 15,000. Wow, stay safe, Droid. Thailand is really worrying right now. They're jumping up. They're at 322. They're plus 50 overnight. Thailand's definitely seeing the case, cluster, boom. Vietnam is right now at case, cluster, going into the second cluster, and then I think the boom is how it's looking at to me right now. Or we're at even the end part of the second cluster going into the boom. America's fully into the boom in all of its major cities, it looks like to me. A cool thing that Vietnam's doing, of course, so if you're a foreigner and you get quarantined and you have to do any of that stuff, you have to pay for it, for one. So one kind of cool thing they're doing is 117 hotels in Ho Chi Minh and Hanoi have offered to be a quarantine, and the foreigner would just pay like a night's stay at the hotel, and then you get to actually just stay in a comfortable hotel room instead of these not so great quarantine things. There's a guy that just reported back he's in a quarantine and he's not digging it at all. I think he was an American, if I remember right. He shouldn't have went to the hospital. He had like ear problems. His ears were plugged or something from flying, and he says he couldn't get it unplugged, so he went to the hospital and boom, they quarantined him. So I mean, I wouldn't be going to the hospital unless you think you have the symptoms. And for the quarantine, if you're gonna go to the hospital, take a bunch of stuff with you. Take like your laptop, take your phone, take your chargers, bring some changes of clothes, bring stuff to do books, bring stuff because you're not gonna have any access, or nobody's gonna have access to give you anything either. So you're gonna wanna have that stuff as you go in. Hopefully they'll let you keep it. Vietnam has 90,000 doctors ready here now to fight, which is great. So I mean, the only thing I'm finding a little worrisome is they're not shutting down the cities fast enough here. I think they've done a fantastic job so far. They give us all the data. They tell us exactly where somebody was infected, what street it was. They quarantine that street. They quarantine that hotel. They try to track down everybody they were in talks with. They're doing a lot of testing. In fact, they were testing at Hanoi Airport, I think, almost every person. So, I mean, they're doing a good job, but I just think they're a little slow on the city shutdowns. If I was them, I would shut down Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh. Or I would at least ask people to stay home, and then I would ask most people that if they can work from home to have that company let them work from home. The less people out there and the less people interacting is how we can calm this thing. Herd ability is not going to be around for like 6 to 8 months at the soonest, and that's when 50% of people will be immune to it, and then that's when it'll normalize out, and then after a while it will kind of be like a regular flu then. That's not going to happen for a long time, so we need to try to keep it under control. What else? The Aussie Prime Minister, which is a really cool thing to say. He said to all of his citizens, don't travel anywhere. You don't need to go overseas. Unless it's absolutely for an emergency, don't go overseas. Don't get on a plane, stay home. That's what you want to hear. That's what every president should be saying. Stay home, stay home, stay home, stay home, stay home. I don't want to talk conspiracies and stuff, but I think America might get particularly bad. I think it's very possible you won't see the elections. I think it's very possible you might see even martial law enacted at some point. I don't know. I can't. He just does what he wants. So we'll see how bad it gets. I hope. I have family in Chicago. I have family in Florida. I have family in LA. So I hope it doesn't become a big deal there. I hope they really start getting on this, and America really, gets united. Everybody stops saying it's the common flu. Everybody stops hoarding supplies. You don't need toilet paper. You ever heard of shit to shower? You take a shit, take a shower. It's an easy way. You don't need toilet paper at all. So just forget about the whole toilet paper. Forget about the hoarding. Buy food smartly in just small amounts of increments of stuff. You don't need to buy a 1 year supply. You can buy a couple months supply over like a 4 or 5 trip to the grocery store. You should have already kind of been preparing a pantry at least, but that's neither here nor there now. YouTube has started unsubscribing people from my channel. I noticed it about yesterday. I had like a 5 to 10 gone within a minute too. Like I was just, sitting there working, and I would refresh and 10 just dropped 10. So there's no way 10 people unsubscribed in a 20-second window. So for some reason YouTube's deleting my subscribers or unsubscribing. I'm not sure about that yet. I'm sure they're not too stoked I'm doing coronavirus videos. That's what I got. I think, like I said, Vietnam's still doing a really good job. Let's hope that they get everything stays the way it is. The Prime Minister said he's trying to keep it under 100 cases, so we don't know what will happen when it'll hit 100 cases. We'll have to just see. I'm staying healthy, doing my routine. If you want to see what I do, I got a day in the life of Fat and Broke Up. I'm shooting a bunch of content as we speak. I'm editing the Train to Busan video. I shot an An Hoa Market video today, which is like the Whole Foods of Vietnam. I have a cucumber cooking video I did. I have another video too, I can't remember what it is, but I've just been shooting a lot of content. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope everyone stays safe. I hope everyone stays healthy. If you have any questions, please just hit me up on Instagram. It's fatandbroke_. Yeah, everybody stay positive. Don't panic. The worst thing you can do is let this freak you out and get to you. Yeah, a lot of the news are going to be reporting on it, but it's better to be educated than not educated, and stick your head in the sand, essentially. So yeah, peace out, guys.